Hi, it's Raymond. I hope I have the right number. Look, I know we haven't spoken in a while, but I need your help. Remember the day I took you and Duncan off the streets? I told you that the past is just a story, that if you can just accept that, your past loses all power over you. Yeah, I was wrong.
Hey kids, we're back. I've got Raymond with me now, because I just went and I beat the mission. So yeah, that's a thing. Aw, come on. I have to walk into this? Well, at least I have some dock wagons this time. Let me pull out my gun! Pull out my gun! Fine. Lame. Okay, Raymond. You are going over here, and you're gonna hang out. You are coming up here to blow people up with frickin' grenades. But first, I'm gonna move. Because I got to get out of the way. How much is it with the 53? That's better. We'll shoot this guy. Alrighty. %60%. I like those odds. Haha. I can shoot him. Ba-na-na-na-na-na. Oi. Haha, you dead now. Laser designator. I shoot you now. And then I shoot you again. And then he shoot you. And then she reload and shoot you. Oh crap! Son of a gun. Oh my god! Why is everything being ruined? Oh, we're... Time to get the heck out of here. So I found out this is the second to last mission like I suspected. I just kind of looked at the mission names. Alarms blare as you hustle Raymond from the Special Projects section of Prosperity Tower. But you encounter no resistance. Raymond unsteadily gropes his way through the corridors of the corporate headquarters, holding onto your elbow for support. Occasionally, the old man fingers the gauze dressing on his head with his free hand, wincing as when he touches a tender patch. Tense minutes pass in between the time you exit the tower and enter the MTR station. The team remains on high alert, scanning the streets and buildings for signs of Sang security forces until, like a stream of cockroaches, you scuttle underground into the cool safety of the mass transit tunnels. You pay the fare, grab Raymond, and make your way to the subway platform. The sound of the old man's ragged breathing sound loudly rushes past your ear. Seconds tick slowly while you wait for the subway train to arrive. So yeah, we're almost done with this game. We'll see how hard the final mission is, because that mission was long. You ready? The team hustles Raymond onto a subway car, quietly taking up defensive positions and scoping the platform for signs of pursuit. The old man is unsteady on his feet, but he insists on standing under his own power. He grabs a railing and holds on with white knuckles as the train lurches forward. A group of tourists sit nearby, conspicuously avoiding eye contact with any of you. Your crew looks over the old man with the bandage on the back of his head, exchanging meaningful expressions. Raymond squints at the odd group surrounding him, but his nod indicates that he understands he's among friends. Wu drags his goggles off his head, bending his knees to get a better look at his foster father. A tangled knot of relief, compassion, resentment, and hurt churns across the younger man's face as he wrestles with his confused emotions. Fear for his father's health overcomes them. Raymond, are you alright, little man? I fought against the reprogramming. The old man's voice is little more than a soft croak. His eyes are sunken and surrounded by dark circles. His mother's medical technology must be amazing. It's hard to believe he's walking under his own power so soon after the surgery. Yeah, well, Grandma's an amazing woman. Her high-tech brain surgery, her ownership of the corpse... her ownership of the cops, her execution of my partner and those runners. Wu's face hardens and stands up straight, glaring down at the old man. Oh, and by the way, she had the plastic-faced man snatch her own son. Amazing woman. A real piece of work, no doubt about it. Yeah, tell me about it. Apparently her son is, too. Pain and bitterness drip from Wu's deep, raspy voice. This man, whoever he is, has a lot of explaining to do. Are you ready to start telling us the truth, Edward? The old man tilts his head up to the orc towering over him, and although exhausted, his jaw sets firm. Yes, Duncan. I'm ready to tell you everything. I had planned to explain it all when you arrived in Hong Kong. Yeah, our meeting was postponed due to kidnapping and murder. The old man's mouth purses and his lips quiver for a moment, but he regains control. I never believed it would come to that my mother was capable of. He allows the thought to remain unfinished. The old man leans back on the wall of the subway car and gathers his thoughts. He seems to swoon for a moment, but then inhales deeply, swallowing hard, and pulls himself erect. My name is Edward Sang. I'm the only son of Josephine Sang, the CEO of Sang Mechanical Services, heir to the company. Before I left Hong Kong, I was the vice president of special projects, the up-and-coming star of the company. If you were the golden boy, why'd you leave Hong Kong? Raymond frowns as if the taste of the words were bitter in his mouth. My division was shut down, disbanded. One of my projects failed. Prosperity. Something you've never seen before washes over the tired old man's face. shame.
You've heard of it. Prosperity. I see.
Raymond takes a breath, and the labored croak of his voice drops to a monotone.
I was part of a project my mother envisioned. To rebuild Kowloon Walled City. A walking neighborhood for underprivileged citizens, fully integrated with job training programs, co-op childcare, drug counseling centers. It was a new approach to low-income housing in the East. The springboard to prosperity for hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the place I grew up in. Raymond is 20 years away, doesn't seem to hear her.
Mother personally oversaw every aspect of the project to ensure that every detail was executed properly. Chose each project manager herself, chaired regular status meetings with architects, builders, visited the work site for surprise inspections. She was driven to make a renewed, revitalized walled city a success.
Yeah, she didn't do too well with that whole prosperity thing, did she?
Not true. Mother's planning was excellent, but the walled city wasn't the prosperity project.
Raymond covers his eyes with a liver-spotted hand, the dread radiating from him like the stink of decayed meat.
Prosperity was something I built at the center of the walled city.
A moment later, an invisible grip takes hold of your chest, constricts it, squeezing the air from your lungs. Your vision grays from the edges and the world surges backwards, leaving you suspended in the distance on the periphery of reality. Something is hurtling towards you, approaching from the fringe of your mind, like a bullet train. It screams ahead, closer and closer, until it is upon you, overwhelming you with its presence, and then nothing. Silence. Until a scream pierces your consciousness, pulls you screaming to its source. You're back in the walled city, the city of darkness. Okay. That was all vague.
Your mind wrenches, inverts, and then violently jerks back into your skull. Your stomach cramps hard, and the taste of bile burns your throat. A thin trickle of cold sweat slides down the small of your back, and your eyes refuse to focus. Your crew fares no better. Gobbet pulls herself from the floor. Madness and folly is squeaking worriedly in the folds of her clothing. Isabel grips a railing, her back to the group, retching silently. Wu breathes deeply, his hands on his knees.
That wasn't a dream. He shakes his head like a lion's mane and spits on the floor.
That was something else.
Gobbet's breathing is shallow. She's covered in a thin sheen of sweat.
It was a vision. I saw some sort of machine inside the walled city.
Isabel turns, squinting in concentration. Her lips are white.
It was churning something. It felt wrong. Impossible. I think it was ripping... I don't know.
Reality. The girl shudders. It was ripping a hole in reality.
I believe we have just fallen in over our heads.
Wu straightens up, drawing the back of a wrist across his mouth.
What the hell was that, Raymond?
No answer. Wu spins to find Raymond cowering, his head in his hands, shuddering and weeping.
She's here.
Place a hand. Breathe, Raymond, breathe.
Shouldn't have waited. Shouldn't have hid.
He looks up at you with bloodshot eyes.
She's here. The queen with 1,000 teeth.
Raymond rocks in place, hugging himself, staring past you at someone only he can see.
I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there. I left prosperity in there.
Uh-oh. Looks like Raymond's gone bye-bye.
Shh, Gobbet.
Isabel whispers her admonishment. Edward, can you hear me? The old man's brow furrows at the name. Prefer Raymond. Raymond blinks his eyes open. His voice is weak, hesitant, disconnected somehow. Are we in the subway? The right corner of his mouth twitches noticeably. Oh, that's not good. Why is he stuttering? He's not. I used to stutter. And this doesn't sound like a stutter to me. Something else is going on. Could be the vision. Could be the aborted brain surgery, or a combination of the two. Something bad is happening. Began a long time ago, and I'm responsible. His eyes open wide. The Queen. Prosperity. The Queen with 1,000 teeth. These dreams, visions, they're coming to you. They've been coming to you for a long time, haven't they? Yes. Oh, yes. I've been plagued by the nightmares for a long time. Raymond's lips start to tremble. They began years ago. Sporadically at first, vague dreams wrapped tight with guilt, with shame. Raymond's eyes roll back in his head and he closes them tight. Until this last year when he searches for the word. The frequency began to increase. Then the image clarified. Started to repeat. Teeth. Thousands and thousands of teeth. He sways for a moment, dizzy, and the sounds of suffering began to drown out even my waking thoughts. That's when I knew I had to come back. The truth, Raymond. Why did your mother have you kidnapped? Why try to erase your memory? To stop me from correcting a mistake. A mistake I made a long time ago. He put a hand out and steadied himself on Wu's arm. My fault. Prosperity. All those people. Those poor people. A prosperity project? Shame eclipses the old man's face. You know about prosperity. Yes, sort of. Wu's tone gets a little sharper. We've already covered this, Raymond. We know it's in the center of the walled city and that Edward Sang built it. Why don't you start from the beginning, Raymond? Tell us what this is all about. The beginning. Sometime in the 20s, my mother was awarded the... He searches for the word. The contract. The contract to rebuild the housing development. The walled city. Well, from the results, I'd say your mom kind of blew it. Prosperity failed. Frustration appears in the old man's tired eyes. I told you, the walled city wasn't the project. Prosperity was the fortune engine I built in the center of the walled city. My special project. Fortune engine? What are you talking about? Wu sneers. You can't create fortune, Raymond. You kinda can, Gunshow. Some practitioners of Feng Shui believe that they can do it. Have you ever heard of Bagua of the 8 Aspirations? Wu looks at Gobbet flatly. No, Gobbet. I must have skipped school that day. Keep going, Gobbet. I want to hear this. Gobbet wrinkles her nose at Wu. It's Neo Feng Shui. The masters of the craft can map the flow of qi and how it corresponds to different aspects in someone's life. Fame, relationships, creativity, inner knowledge, health, and fortune. That's 6. I thought you said there were 8 aspects. The little orc shrugs. I definitely don't remember the other 2. Oh, I don't remember the other 2, but one of them was definitely fortune. She looks sidelong at Raymond. What does your fortune engine do? The fortune engine was designed to improve the balance of key in a negative key environment. A negative key environment? Because it's a poor neighborhood. Somewhere shitty, like a slum. Like a low-income housing project. I believed that with the Fortune engine, the rebuilt walled city might never become a slum. He drifts off for remembering. Then he squeezes his eyes shut and lowers his head. But the machine malfunctioned. How do you know how to create magic machines? I thought you were an industrial engineer. I am. I also have several advanced degrees. Doctorates in physics, Taoist alchemy. The old man shrugged shakily. My mother pushed me hard to reach my potential. Wu stares at him blankly. A doctorate in magic. Great. Something else we didn't know about you. You guys can work through your family secrets later. Isabel leans in and speaks gently to Raymond. How did the machine malfunction? The mechanism I created to circulate negative key in the walled city. He brings a liver-spotted hand to his mouth. It got stuck. Stuck on what? Raymond rises slowly, pulling himself from his crumpled heap. His tone turns instructive to the old Raymond, but this time his explanation is halting and weary. Think of the Fortune engine as a sort of propeller blade moving through astral space, circulating key, keeping it, he hunts for the word, fresh. When key flows, when the rhythm is right, the results are positive, fortuitous. When I brought my design for the Fortune engine to my mother, she embraced it. He exhales. She more than embraced it. She bankrolled it, put an entire division of Sang Mechanical under me to develop it. Sounds like a big bet. The biggest of her career. Mother said that if the machine could bring fortune to the less fortunate, it would prove my theory. And if it could help the poor, imagine what a fortune engine could do for Josephine Sang. But that's not what happened. Wu's jaw clenched. But that's not happened. What happened, was it? Something went wrong. The people in the walled city didn't benefit from your fortune engine, did they, Raymond? The old man bows his head, doesn't answer. Raymond, why didn't your fortune engine work? It got stuck. He didn't raise his head. The mechanism I created to circulate negative key in the walled city got stuck. You can see Wu's patience blowing away like autumn leaves in a high wind. He rubs his head viciously in frustration. Stuck on what, Raymond? The old man gets a confused look on his face. His lips move soundlessly for several moments. Wu leans in closer, drops to a whisper, seethes in his foster father's face. Stuck on what? Raymond winces at Wu's tone and stumbles back a step. But it does the job, and the old man focuses. Something in astral space. I wasn't sure what. That sounds bad. The machine started pooling negative key. The old man's breathing begins to accelerate, and the walled city started to fill with it. Fortunes turned bad. I've been in places where the feng shui was really bad. That's not what I felt when I was in the walled city. No, ki needs to flow. Eventually, the enormous pool of negative ki became toxic. Fortune turned from bad to worse. Much worse. Raymond's shoulders slumped. Mother's vision for a rebuilt, revitalized walled city fell to ruin. It only took a few years for the trapped toxic ki to turn a brand new housing development into a hellish slum. Why didn't you turn it off? I couldn't. Something happened. Part of the malfunction. We couldn't turn it off. Then why didn't you blow it up, wrap it in C6, and turn it into a scrap heap? Mother refused. Wu's tongue turned icy cold. Why? I never found out. She wouldn't tell me. She would only say it wasn't worth spending the additional resources to figure out how to fix it, or even how to turn it off. Words started spilling out of the old man. She sealed off the maintenance room. Our engineers poured a sarcophagus of thick concrete around it so no one would ever find out what we had done. Then she wrote the project off as a business loss and moved on like nothing ever happened, right? Yes. His face flushes and he fidgets with the gauze bandage on his head. After that, I left Hong Kong, started a new life in Seattle, found Jutu. You should have stayed, tried to do something about it. Wu grimaces disappointed. You are a coward, Raymond. Yes. Raymond stands up straight, takes a shaky step towards Wu. Yes, Duncan, I was a coward. And the guilt, the burden of my cowardice gripped me like a vice that never loosened. It's eaten me alive from the inside for 20 years. He licks his lips, tried to breathe. And then the nightmares began. Horrible. Still, I kept working on the problem night and day. Did you ever figure out how to stop it? It took me years, even after you left, to make the connections, find what to do, but I did. I figured it out, and still the nightmares intensified until they became unbearable. I knew I had to come back and fix what I had done. That's why I contacted you, to help me see it through. Wu mumbled something, but all you can make out is the word coward. But what about the rip in reality we saw in our vision? When the machine malfunctioned, when the circulator became stuck in astral space, it lodged in another domain. He sways and his lips begin to tremble. And something lived there. Oh my god, we're going to the upside down! Not good. The old man begins to drift. After 20 years of constant force, the circulator began tearing. Astral space began a rupture in her domain. He begins rocking in place, and now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through, and now she's pushing through. Yeah, she's pushing through all right. Wu snarls at his foster father. The queen with 1,000 fucking teeth? A thing you brought here? Raymond stops his rocking, becomes fully lucid. He snaps back at Wu. I understand that, Mr. Wu. That's why I came back. I believe she is only partially here. She hasn't pushed all the way through yet. She's probing her new hunting grounds. The emotional strain of his snap at Wu rattles him again.
I know what to do now. How to extract the circulator, shut down the machine before she can fully manifest.
That sounds like a timer on this next mission.
Just get me to the center of the walled city, to the fortune engine. I'll do the rest. Please help me. Help them.
That machine has caused unspeakable misery. It needs to be shut down. Whatever misery the machine's caused is nothing compared to what's going to happen. The little Dicker's eyes open wide, more white than Iris. It's not just a thing in there, Caesar. It's a Yama King, a demon goddess. Her breathing becomes faster, shallower. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can go back in there. Where trapped is, we can't run. And believe me, I want to. It's all I've been thinking of. The rat shamans. His shoulders rise with tension. But the APB is still out on all those... But the APB is still out on us in those visions. I got a feeling they're not going to stop unless we make them stop. And that fragile old man's the only way to do it. We've got to take him there, Is. We've got to help him fix this. Gaicho's face remains impassive, but his eyelids lower in anticipation. I have the opportunity to kill a god. I cannot allow the opportunity to pass unanswered. Do I get everybody? I hate this country. I hate this life. Wu sets his jaw and hooks his thumb into his belt. He stares evenly at Raymond, his voice cold. But I owe you, Raymond. And I'm not walking away from that. I intend to make us even. I'll help you fix your mess or die trying.
Hey guys, I'm Alex. The guy from the videos. So, I just wanted to thank you for watching the video all the way through. It's a lot of work. I appreciate it. Thank you for your view, maybe your subscription. So you can subscribe right in the bottom corner there. Then you'll be updated. Make sure to ring that notification bell, because subscriptions seem to mean nothing on YouTube anymore. But hey, so then over here you'll see a video that you might like, since you watched this video all the way through. Other than that, have a great day. I hope that you watch more. I'd love to see you again. We do stream, so keep an eye out for that. Announcements will be on the channel, my Twitter, all that stuff. All the information is on the overlay. Other than that, enjoy your stay on 6th Street.